AV in your ears, that's Ambush Vid, giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my boy Steve, Fascination Street, you already know. Let's get it when you whip in the Fascination Street. What do you...
This is John Grossman from Uncle Lucius, and you are listening to Fascination Street Podcast.
AV in your ears, that's Ambush Vid, giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my boy Steve, Fascination Street, you already know. Let's get it when you whip in the Fascination Street. What do you...
Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Jonathan Grossman, Johnny Keys, from the band Uncle Lucius. In this episode, we get to know Jonathan and how he became part of Uncle Lucius. It's a weird, wild story that I don't think I've ever heard before, but it's a really cool story about how he became part of the band. In this episode, we also talk about some of the cool highlights that have happened through the course of this band's existence, including one of their songs being featured in the TV show Yellowstone. It was in episode 4 of season 1, so the show was just getting started. The show featured the Uncle Lucius song, Keep the Wolves Away, and it happened at a time when the band had already broken up. But that song turned into a massive hit, and naturally the band got together to see what they had left in the tank. It's a little more complicated than that, and also a lot cooler than the way I made it sound, but he does tell that story, and it sounds like a lot of fun just to be part of this band. They're touring all the time. They're playing all the places. As a matter of fact, they are on tour right now. Go to their website, which is yourunclelucius.com, for tour dates and new album information. They're recording a new album. It's a live album at Green Hall in Green, Texas, or New Braunfels, Texas, as we say. This will be the third album in less than 3 years, which is crazy. They got back together. They started kicking the ass. They started putting out all the stuff. And now, like I said, they're on tour. They're on tour all over Texas, and then they're going over to Europe, and they're going to tour Germany and Italy and Sweden and Norway and all the places. So check them out wherever you can find them. Also, if you're in the Austin area, every Wednesday that they're in town, 3 of the members of Uncle Lucius play with a band called the Guthrie Girls in Austin at a place called Sam's Town Point. So check that out. And also, you can find John Grossman, Johnny Keys, on Spotify. He puts out music under the name John Grazzzz. He tells all about it. Listen to the episode. He lets me play my favorite song from their most recent album. It is called All the Angelinos, and you are going to love it. And this is my conversation with Johnny Keys, the keyboard player for Uncle Lucius, Jonathan Grossman.
Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Jonathan Grossman, Johnny Keys. What's up, dude?
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, my pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Johnny Keys himself, Jonathan Grossman. We're going to talk about all of the things that make him as cool as a cucumber. But first, John, what I like to do is I like to start from the beginning, man. It helps us understand how the guests got from where they were to where they are. So where were you born and raised, man? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in South Bend, Indiana.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, northern Indiana. My parents are both going to Notre Dame, but they moved to Lexington, Kentucky when I was about 1. So I was raised there, although technically a Hoosier. Yeah, but I lived in Lexington, bounced around a bit, moved a couple of times, but then settled back there and played music for about 4 years full time in Lexington. That's where I met Uncle Lucius. They came through.
Oh, rad. Okay, so what was the plan? What did your parents do? What did they want you to do, if anything? What did you want to be when you grew up?
They did not want me to do this, although they were very artistic, very supportive of music. We're a very go-to-college family. I'm one of 3, and my older brother, my younger sister, both lawyers. My dad's a lawyer. Although it was not expected, that is certainly a well-trodden path.
Are you the black sheep of the family?
I am. It's strength in numbers. Guess my parents had that idea, sort of, you have 3 kids in 6 years. Even if there's an oddball, yeah, you still got them outnumbered. So I've got lawyers above and below me, should the should the need arise.
Love that. Should the shit hit the fan, you are covered.
That's a solid ecosystem. I mean, a musician and lawyers, they'll never tire of one another.
Yeah, that is the truth. So you grew up in Lexington. Did you go to college?
I did. I went to Oberlin outside of Cleveland, kind of an artsy fartsy. Did about 2.5 years there, and then did 3 or 4 semesters at University of Kentucky part-time, but never finished. So technically still a college student.
Oh, kick ass.
Between majors.
Between majors. I like when people say they did, like you did 2 years here and you did, like you did time. It's like it's like a prison sentence.
Yeah, if it were prison, they would have fired me for not showing up for work.
Love it.
I think you still have to go to work in jail.
I think so. My wife and I, wow, I guess we've been back for about 10 years, but for about a year and a half, we lived in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Wildly different than San Antonio. So, growing up in San Antonio, it's for all intents and purposes, the desert. And then I lived in Louisville for a year and a half, and I'm not shitting you, bro, and nobody believes me. My grass had moss growing on it. Like, it is wet there. I like to say it rained there every day except when it was snowing.
Yeah.
So I can understand why you got the hell out of there. No offense to all of my Kentucky friends.
Oh, Kentucky's great. I took it a little personally because the whole music scene took a huge upswing shortly after I left. It started to rise to this national prominence. They opened all these great venues,
I took it a little personally myself after I left. It was after I left that I ended up meeting and befriending a ton of musicians and podcasters in the Louisville area.
I hear it's a hotbed of that kind of.
It's a hotbed. Okay, so you're hanging out, you're going to school, and then you're like, you know what? Maybe school should come to my house. I don't like going anywhere. So you said you're playing music for about 4 years. Does that mean you're paying your bills playing music? Is that what that means?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There were not many places to play in Lexington, maybe 5 or 6 regulars, a lot of privates and things like that. A lot of weddings. It was high season for weddings, but there were not many piano players at all. Especially the only ones that were sort of on the scene were a bit fancy. So I was like the one gigging keyboard player. So I played all the time, 4 or 5 gigs a day sometimes.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
It was a lot of fun, a lot of grind aspect to it. Also, my parents put me up for a couple of years, relatively rent-free. So got to give a shout out to the folks.
Praise the folks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Grossman. We all appreciate you.
It's true. I remember band members coming to my house before they really knew me. They just knew me as Johnny Keyboards, knocking on the door because I had slept through the rehearsal, asking for Mama Keyboards, Mrs. Keyboards, Mr. Keyboards. Did you wake your son up? Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that you threw that little rock and roll tip in there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a rock and roll star, fall asleep and miss practice or rehearsal or whatever.
It's the way to, yeah.
That is one of the Johnny keys to success.
Oh. That key does not work in any door.
Why keyboards? When and why did you decide to start playing the piano?
I had taken lessons when I was a little kid, but I was very resistant, and my teacher quit giving them to me. And that was when I was 12 or so. I had cast off lessons, but I had enough familiarity when I was like 15. I was on a long summer camp stint. And my bunkmate wrote songs and had a guitar. And we were constantly around pianos. It was really bugging the shit out of me because I would be seated at this piano that I sort of was familiar with, but I couldn't play along. It bugged me, all the attention he was getting, more or less, because he was like the cut up in the group. That's what really spurred me to get into it, was just watching this guy. He could write a song about anything, about whatever was going on that day at camp, and everybody loved it. And that's what specifically drove me to the keyboard. I play guitar, I started on drums, play a few instruments, but piano is so self-contained. It was very easy to kind of get into that world and just hang out there. No need for a bass player, drummer. You just kind of have the whole orchestra.
Yeah, plus you can play malls.
Exactly. I just did that. Where was that? Was in Nottingham, I think, in England. There was one. Nobody cared, but there was an old man playing like stride piano when I got there. It looked like he was in his 90s. I love coming upon those train stations, airports.
Do you sit down and tickle them?
Oh yeah, there was an out of tune grand piano at the airport. Maybe in Louisville. We made a connection there. Yeah, I got my airports confused of late, but it was just sitting right in the restaurant. I was shocked. He said, "Go ahead and sit down," and then I realized why. So out of tune, you could barely play on it.
It's funny you bring that up. I don't know how long ago it was, but I saw this video. I think it was on Instagram, maybe last week. There was a kid. I want to say he was like between 13 and 17 or something, or maybe older. I don't know. But he had been through an airport and noticed that the piano in the wherever was out of tune. And so the next time he was flying through, he made his connection flight like 4 hours so that he could tune that piano.
Wow.
Because it was driving him crazy.
That's awesome. I picked up tuning pianos a little bit because I play a hotel gig in Austin, and they take a long time in between tunings. That's what, during COVID, I had a lot of downtime, obviously.
Oh, nice.
It up a little bit. That is a very difficult trade, though, piano tuning. Nothing to trifle with.
I can't even imagine how difficult that must be. It looks tremendously overwhelming. Okay, so you're playing in clubs or centers or event places or whatever, and then all of a sudden Uncle Lucius is on tour and they're coming through. And so if I understand this correctly, you were kind of like the house guy at this place. And then they were like, "Oh, hey, this band is going to open for you." And you were like, "What's happening?"
Yeah, they told us like that night. Was playing the regular gig with this band, the Other Brothers, that are still going strong in Lexington. And it was like a 4-hour gig at an Irish pub. I mean, it was a cool gig, great burgers, good scene, but it was a gig, not a show, very decidedly. I had never, ever heard of anybody opening. I find it hilarious to this day that their booking agent sent them 1,000 miles from Austin. "Well, you'll open this show." They have a good crowd. It was pretty dubious.
So at the time, had you ever heard of Uncle Lucius? Were they a thing yet?
No, I wouldn't have. I didn't have my finger on the pulse. So I was just kind of a workaday musician. If they weren't hiring me or like on the bill, I wouldn't have known them. But no, I think they had just put out Pick Your Head Up, their second album. They had done a national tour and opened for Leon Russell, I think the previous jaunt. And then they were coming back, but, very small time, as far as I know.
They open for you and then y'all play, and then backstage y'all just trade phone numbers and start making out? Like, how does this work?
Well, it was actually, man, I wish I had it. In the other room, I still have Kevin's business card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he handed it to me right as soon as they were done. As I recall, like he hadn't even heard me play. He had just been asking around about me in the bar, I guess.
Asking around about the piano player?
Yeah, they were looking for a keys player, and I wasn't aware of this, but he seemed a little nervous enough that I noticed. And he handed me his business card, and on the back it said, "Move to Austin, ? Tour the country with Uncle Lucius," in Sharpie. I don't even think he had mentioned it to the other guys in the band. I think it was sort of a lark, an impulse.
I hope it's framed.
Yeah, it's not framed, but it's in a little plastic. Yeah, I've got it in my little shrine.
That's pretty cool.
I was playing with the Other Brothers, Gabe and Nate Hensley, and we went and had an after party at the Hensley house. And I kind of chatted up the guys. I remember distinctly talking with Josh, the drummer, and saying something like, "Well, I guess if you're down when I'm down in Austin, or if I was in Austin," and just his facial expression was like, "Yeah," apropos of like random thought. If you were,
yeah, he's like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Sure.
Yeah, exactly. More or less.
It's like at the end of this interview when I tell you, "Hey, the next time you're in Bernie, give me a call," and you're going to be like, "Okay." It's like that.
Why would I ever be a Bernie? My God. Perish the thought.
That seems so wildly uncomfortable. Like, Basically, he came to your job. He said, I want to hire you away from your job. And then said, hey, let's go to a party at your employer's house.
Said like that, it does seem incredibly awkward. Fraught.
How did the other brothers feel about this scenario?
They were very supportive. I mean, probably more than anybody. Nate or Gabe, both of them, but Gabe in particular, he was the singer. He was very like, I don't know. I think he was already married and he had like a steady day job. Most of the guys that played music in Lexington were like married to women with good jobs or had good jobs themselves. Like it was not a career track. I had, started showing up when I was like 21, 22. So I was sort of the kid on the ride. I don't know.
New kid on the scene.
Yeah, Gabe really looked out for me. In fact, he was the big reason weeks after that. I remember distinctly him saying, you know what I have been listening to is that Uncle Lucius record. You should listen to that, because at that point I had so many gigs. They were just another gig. I didn't think of it being that special, but kind of on his recommendation, I listened back to it. Yeah, no, quite the contrary. They were all very excited, enthusiastic about the idea. I mean, it was really out of left field. That sort of thing didn't happen a lot.
I have never heard of it before or since. I mean, like it's not very often that somebody just blows into town and hires just some musician they met in a bar,
Yeah,
and then moves them halfway across the world to tour the world.
Yeah. It has a storybook quality when it's compressed into a sentence. Yeah.
Most stories do. Okay, so what year was this roughly?
2010, but it was earlier in the year. It was like April. I remember I was pretty cautious. I did a practice run. We did 4 dates that July. Just drove to Nashville, met him, got a ride home from Chicago, just kind of try it out on the road. It was wise. It was wiser I finally left in December, having saved up, knowing, it was going to be a little bit of a rough road.
Okay, so how does that work? You meet up in Nashville and you do like a few dates with them. When did you guys have a chance to rehearse, or did you just kind of go in all jazz style and be like, I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to jump in there, I'm going to kick back here and then I'm going to jump in there and there? Like, how does that work, especially at the beginning like that?
I'd listened to the stuff enough that I had it all down. I didn't need notes or anything. We didn't work out a lot of intricate parts or anything like that on the first run.
You were the first piano player, right? They didn't have one on the record you listened to.
They had an organ guy come in on like 4 songs.
Oh,
but
okay.
I listened more to their live album. They had done a live at Saxon Pub. Hopefully we're going to re-release that. It's been out of print for a while, but that's the one I listened to. We still have like CD copies. We would make them in runs of, a couple hundred at a time. But yeah, that's the one I listened to. And there was plenty of room. I mean, it was a 4-piece. Kevin's acoustic wasn't that big in the mix. So at times it was like a trio, and organ. It's like good gravy. It just sort of settles in all the open spots,
It hasn't come out yet, but as we're recording this, my next episode that's going to drop is Bo Donaldson from Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods. Are you familiar with him?
I'm not.
Well, I don't know how old you are, and I don't want to, but June of 1974, the number one song in America was a song called Billy, Don't Be a Hero. And it was by Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods. And Bo Donaldson is the keyboard player. That's the next episode that's coming out.
Oh, cool.
Monday. But yeah, number one song in America. And the name of the band, it was named after the keyboard player who doesn't sing. Like he's just, not just, but he's the keyboard player, not the front man.
Write that down.
Yeah, you have to write that down. It's pretty sick.
That's cool. What a respectful gesture.
I thought it was pretty sick. Yeah. And he tells a great story about it and it's all cool.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Hey, this is Landon from the podcast Landon Talks with Kate. Y'all, we wrote a book, Bless Your Heart, A Field Guide to All Things Southern. Comes out April 1st of 2025, and I know that's April Fool's Day, and I do stand-up comedy, but this is not a joke. I literally wrote a book. It's a field guide to life in the South. It's a field guide to how things go down here. It is a hilarious adventure. It's one of those kind of books that you can pick up at any point and read any part of it. You don't have to read it straight through because it is just a fun jaunt, a fun little saunter down an encyclopedia of Southern life. And I will tell y'all, it really got interesting because I am Southern, obviously. So the things I say, I understand. My editors were not. So we've got footnotes, we've got cross references. This thing has turned educational because we had to explain it for everybody. So if you're from the South, you're going to love it because it's hilarious. The things that we talk about and do and the way that we exist. If you're not from the South, you're going to love it because it's a literal guide into life down here and all the silly things that we do and say and all the nostalgia as well. You can pre-order your copy now wherever books are sold. And if you want to hear more from me, check out my podcast, Landon Talks with Kate, wherever podcasts are found.
Let's get back into it.
Again, I don't know how old you are. Again, don't care. But when I was a little kid, one of my favorite movies was Eddie and the Cruisers. Have you seen this film?
I have not.
It's about a band who used to be somebody, and then they were putting out this big record, and then the record like the master tapes disappeared, and then so did the singer, right, Eddie. Well, the whole movie is about whatever happened to Eddie and the Cruisers and this last album. I think it was Tom Berenger played the keyboardist, and he was the best character in the whole movie. You should watch this movie. It's a good movie about a rock band with a keyboard.
Oh, man. Eddie and the Cruisers?
Eddie and the Cruisers. It's dope as hell. And it's got a lot of people that you'll be like, oh, that guy. Oh, that guy. Oh, that guy. Oh, that girl. Ellen Barkin, Joey Pantaleone.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of fools. Like I said, Tom Berenger. Doesn't matter. We're not here to talk about my childhood.
We can.
So when did you actually move to Austin? And were your parents like, finally,
Yeah,
it's got a job?
they were really held that back. Yeah, I'm sure they were thinking that pretty tremendously. It was a reasonably big house. I was in the basement, so they didn't hear me too much.
They forgot you were there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one thing we don't have here. Texans, we don't have basements. Kentucky,
noticed.
they all have basements.
They all do. Yeah. It would say, there's a little bit of getting used to again coming out of Texas. The gigs paid a lot better in Lexington, at least at first, like double when it got to Austin. Austin is so saturated. I couldn't believe it. I think I moved like December 10th and December 18th. We left on our first big tour. It was like 35-day tour.
Of 09?
10.
Or 10, okay.
2010. First time the band played the Steamboat Festival, if you're familiar with that at all.
Where's that?
In Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Texan guy, John Dixon, that does it.
Oh, okay. Sick. No, I'm not familiar with it. Sounds like I should be, though.
Texas Country Festival.
Texas. Oh, you know what? Since we're side noting all over the place, I'm going to do it right now. I know that you guys do covers sometimes, like on this newest live album, y'all did Bertha by Grateful Dead or whatever. If you guys are looking for cool Texas country covers, might I suggest the late, great Kinky Friedman?
Oh, yeah, the Texas Jew Boy. Close to my heart.
He has a new album that's posthumously his last album.
Yeah.
I interviewed him about 2 years before he died.
Oh, man.
In his living room. It was amazing. And he did this really cool thing, which not many people have done. He leaned over and picked up a guitar and he said, "Hey, I'm going to play this song. I wrote it last night." And he played it, and you can hear him like turning the page as he's reading the note of the lyrics.
Oh, awesome.
And then he messes up at one point and he goes, "Fuck me, dead." And then he just keeps right on going. But that's the only place that song exists. It's on my show.
Wow.
But it's going to be on the album, thank goodness. But
oh, man.
he put out so much great stuff, and particularly the album Resurrection. There's some really cool songs on there that I think would work well with Uncle Lucius if you guys were ever going to look for another cover.
You're speaking my language. I'm raised in Kentucky, raised Jewish in Kentucky. So among other reasons, Kinky Friedman's big time hero, did some wonderful, wonderful stuff.
That dude's awesome. Okay. So you joined the band in 2010. In 2012 is when you guys turned into legends.
Oh, is that right?
I think so. 2012 is when you guys put out Keep the Wolves Away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you were in the band when that song came out.
Yeah, they had put it out on that live at Saxon Pub.
Oh.
That was the first time it was ever out. I think that's why we've had some trouble reprinting it. Record company has been sold like 3 times to a conglomerate, so getting their okay to use, I think that's the holdup. But yeah,
That
no,
makes
we
sense.
started working on it. I had just learned the accordion, so I was sort of sheepish about I think maybe the accordion, but they were all into it. And that was kind of a signature part of that song, I guess. A lot of
I
people
love
think
it.
it's harmonica.
I thought it was harmonica for until I listened to it for probably the 50th time. And then I was like, is that is that an accordion? And here from South Texas, I should really be more attuned to the accordion.
Well,
For
that sound
reasons.
though, that's the German accordion sound, for lack of a better. The South Texas is that warbly kind of. They call it a musette, where
Mhm.
that kind of warble. It doesn't really sound like that. You would have heard it if it was like a norteño accordion.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for bailing me out on that one.
I want to defend your Texanness,
I
one of us.
appreciate that. This song comes out and it makes a little bit of a splash, but nothing like what happened a few years later with it. But before we get there, this album comes out. You guys are still touring all over the place. And then at a certain point, you guys all decide to step away.
Yeah.
Tell me why. What happened? Does everybody hate everybody? Was it a big fist fight?
No, sadly, that would be so convenient right now. There
Said
was one
sadly.
5-way fist fight. We all broke our wrists. No, it was more mundane than that. It was just kind of like a couple of the guys had kids, so that was a pressure. Like I guess we were sort of plateaued. We were doing fine and covering bills and everything like that. The shows were what they were not stagnant, but it just wasn't the payoff wasn't there anymore. Everybody's calculations were changing. It's hard to like put a finger. We just had a conversation after a while, after a dismal tour or two, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah," there was not a ton of resistance, I guess. You know,
It was like, hey, you guys, I think maybe we should, and everybody was like, we agree. Like, I didn't even finish the sentence yet. Let me finish.
almost. I mean,
Take a
Kevin
break.
brought it up himself, and when we did break up, he put out like a statement on his own in his own writing. But I think it was I don't know. It could be viewed differently, but I think the reason he did that was to like let us off the hook, take responsibility. So in case any sort of, I think that's why, because it was like he brought it up, but it was very mutual. Certainly, like not anything particular, but just kind of like, oh, I was sort of doing it because I thought you would want to do that kind of thing. It's tough. I mean, the wear and tear, I guess, of the road, just being away, the obvious stuff.
Sure, touring. I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, and aging is a form of inflation if you want to, like everything costs more, all the routine injuries take a little longer to all that just piles up.
Inflammation is inflation. I love that.
Come on. Oh, that's a party I can get behind. Where's a guy like Kinky? We need a candidate. Oh man.
So, are you familiar with the band Los Lonely Boys?
Sure.
They did How Far Is Heaven and all
Oh
that good
yeah.
stuff. They did a similar thing. They took a break for 5 years, and they just got back together like one year ago, maybe.
Hmm.
But they took a break for a similar reasons. They some of them had kids, and the road was kind of. I mean, they were playing 300 shows a year. So
Yeah.
I mean, they were tired, and so they kind of one of them, and he's the guy who they all agreed, like you said, like with you guys, they all agreed, but it was one guy who kind of was like, you know what, this one's on me. I'm going to tell everybody, it was kind of my idea or whatever.
Right.
They got back together, and then they released their first album in 11 years. And you guys after y'all got back together, then y'all put out your first album, and it was what, like 8 years between albums?
I think so, yeah. That sounds right. 2015, 2023.
But it was a similar story. That's, kind of why I brought it up, because they all decided after all these years of touring and getting the hell beat out of them on the road that it was time to take a break. And then it wasn't supposed to be a hiatus, much like Uncle Lucius. It was kind of the end.
Yeah.
But then they were like, you know what? Hey, we still got some more to say. So they got back together. And so it seemed really appropriate to bring that up, because it's kind of like what you guys did, almost exactly, in my opinion.
Sure. I just was hearing about them. Yeah, they're playing somewhere.
Yeah, they're playing all over the place.
Heck yeah.
Okay, you guys, you broke up. Not a hiatus, you broke up. What did everybody do during the breakup? Because you guys are broke up for like what? 3 years, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
So what did all of you do? You didn't move back to Kentucky, so
I didn't. No, I think I just fell right back into playing. I remember there was a friend of mine at the time, Doug Strahan, put together a Leon Russell hoot night. We did, I don't remember, 40 of Leon Russell songs. We had 10 piano players so that each of us could
Jesus.
really dig in and try to learn because Leon's such a beast. But it was so great. I don't know, 30 odd musicians altogether. There was I think I gigged out of that pool of gigs, for probably until now, still getting gigs out of that. Kevin, our singer, did a couple of solo albums, and I played on them. And he did some very brief touring, like 2 weeks on each record, something like that. Just hit a couple of our old spots, but did those. Yeah, just kind of branched out. Kind of did what I was doing in Kentucky. Played just tons, all sorts of different bands, lots of solo gigs, hotels. Stayed pretty busy. I almost forgot this guy, Hal Vorpal. He was the original bass player in Uncle Lucius. He dropped out before, like 5 years before we broke up. He had had enough. Became a graphic designer, kept writing songs though. And whenever Keep the Wolves Away, I forget the year exactly. It might have been 2020 or 19.
it was 18.
18, I guess. So we had never gotten any mailbox money, and we still get very, very little, but we had this trickle coming in. Hal and I got together and rented studio space and hired musicians and did a bunch of sessions. That was real fun.
So that takes us to 2018.
Yeah.
There's a television show called Yellowstone. It was brand new. Nobody knew what the hell it was. I certainly didn't know what the hell it was, and I don't think you did either. But it was a TV show called Yellowstone, and I believe it was the 4th episode of the first season. They played this one song called Keep the Wolves Away. And then all of a sudden, you guys are getting text messages from people you don't even remember have your own phone number. And they're going, hey, man, I just heard your song. And they're like, what is Yellowstone? How did that happen? How did they get your song before you knew about it?
Well, I mentioned it in passing, the record company that's been sold a few times.
Uh-huh.
We signed a decent by standards, but all music deals are terrible.
Right.
The key clause of this one is that they split publishing, even though they didn't write or even if you've heard of the song, they get half of the money for the writing. But crucially, they have like 50.1% as far as control, which means that they can say yes to a placement in a show without our consent. And there's no rule that they have to be this shitty, but they didn't even have to tell us about it. So we actually didn't know. And there was money that, we were owed.
Did you have to go after it, or did you just get it?
Oh, yeah. We had to spend, money on a lawyer to get it. It's pretty wild. Let's be frank. They steal the song. Didn't belong to them. They use their power over us in the negotiation to steal the song, dole it out to whoever is buying, and they don't even tell us. I don't even know who I'm complaining about since the company has been sold so many times. Faceless corporations. That's what they want.
Those
So you don't even have anybody to complain about. Anyway, rant over. Sorry.
I love that.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors. Let's get back into it.
So the video on YouTube had been rolling along, picking up a little steam here and there, but once it hit Yellowstone, it was off to the races. Last I checked on YouTube on the Uncle Lucius channel, Keep the Wolves Away is at 170 million views.
Wow, that is crazy.
170 million views. You might not know, and if you do, I don't need numbers. I don't care about that at all. But do you get paid at all from 170 million views on YouTube? Does YouTube pay you guys money?
They do. I've never seen like a breakdown.
Sure. But they're not stealing from you. They're giving you some money.
Yeah, they are. They are. It's still 50.1% goes elsewhere.
Is that in perpetuity? Is that forever?
Oh, yeah. They use amazing language in those agreements, like through perpetuity, throughout the universe, just in
Love
case
that.
to discover life on some other planet, and they start to play the song. They don't want to lose out on that revenue.
That brings me to a question I didn't know I was going to ask, but is there any Uncle Lucius songs that I can buy 51% of? Jesus.
You sound like an Instagram message we got. They said, "Have you heard of Rod Stewart selling his catalog for $1 billion? We'll offer you 500 or 600 bucks."
Shut up.
It's among the spam we get. Yeah, that's
Oh my
good.
God, that's terrible. I'm mad. I'm angry now. Oh my God, that's terrible. So back to Yellowstone. Well, you already told me how it came to be, but how did it impact the band? Like, once you guys did find out that it was happening, was there a massive phone call? Was it like, hey, a group chat? Was it like,
It was a fancy steak dinner in Austin, actually.
I mean, I know that it wasn't life-changing money, especially since you had to go fight for it, which I would imagine took a big chunk of the money you were fighting for. That
Yeah,
sounds so bad. Wait a minute, you got lawyers in your family.
I know. Yeah, they were not in Texas, and none of them did entertainment. My brother took like a one class in entertainment law. Yeah, the legal profession wins again. Now, as it happens, we had a superstar lawyer, Gwen Seal. She's like a young hotshot in Austin. She represents wrestlers, like regional, small time, like minor league wrestlers. Her significant other was telling me. So musician, she just does sort of as a lark. She would never make money. It's all relative.
Sure. Well, thanks, Gwen.
Oh yeah, Gwen Seal, hard hitter.
This turn of events made you guys decide to see if you had anything left in the tank?
It was more organic than that. I don't think we had all been physically in the same place. Still that steak dinner, a couple guys, three of the group had moved out of town. So we had chatted and things like that, had to call every now and again. But it really, yeah, it just started very organically. We were all sitting around. I mean, didn't hurt that we were having this glorious dinner out in the private room surrounded by like wine bottles. It was very surreal looking at our scraggly asses. What are we doing here? Kind of thing. But it was all like everybody had moved on. We're doing other things. Like everybody was still doing music, aside from Mike. Mike was a full time electrician. He was still playing on the side, but like, so it was all extra. Yeah, it was just this crazy gravy scenario. Yeah, it happened very quickly. We got together for a drink. I remember sitting down with Tim, who was Kevin's manager and became the band's manager. And one minute he was speaking so hypothetically, like, I mean, I do still get these offers every now and again if you guys ever wanted to. And then it seemed like next second we were doing it. Hal, who I mentioned earlier, Hal Vorpal, was on all those recordings and everything, and had been a founding member of the band. And he had been into producing. We had been producing records, so he had all these songs, like several songs fully fleshed out and ready. So it's like, not only can we get back together, we can just record this like within a couple of months. And I forget, it happened maybe in the autumn before. It's just a few months that everything kind of came together very, very quickly, very swimmingly.
That is kick ass. And that album that you guys put out after you got back together, that's like it's the last one left?
Yeah.
Since we were talking about Keep the Wolves Away and everybody knows the song, they just don't know they know the song. Like every time I tell somebody, oh yeah, Keep the Wolves Away, they're like, I don't know that. And then you start playing it and they go, oh yeah, I know the song. Like,
yeah.
For whatever reason, that title's not sticking with fools. So can I play Keep the Wolves Away during this episode?
Sure, of course.
Oh, rad. Thanks. Do you want to introduce it like you're a radio DJ?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this next song, I have to say from a personal level, changed my life. Never thought I would be involved in anything that caught on in quite so significant a way. This next song is a true story written by Kevin Galloway about his childhood in Brazoria County in Freeport, Texas, and the fateful day when his father, Steve, was called to Galveston Bay to investigate a terrible chemical accident that imperiled the whole Houston region. But fortunately, people like Steve Galloway were trained and just the ballsiest motherfuckers you'll ever meet in your life, and sort of stormed the gates. and he was horrifically injured, and it changed Kevin's life forever. Steve should have died, many times out of the ashes of that. Not only did he live, but his son Kevin wrote this heroic saga that Steve is like, rightly, I think, is like an everyman Texan. Really a great story. I'm proud to call him a friend. Great dude. So this is Keep the Wolves Away by Uncle Lucius.
Took my first breath where the muddy rises, spills into the Gulf of Mexico, where the skyline's colored by chemical plants that put bread on the table of the working man, where the working man does his best to provide safety and shelter for kids and a wife, giving a little of a soul every day, making overtime to keep the wolves away. I was barely 13 when the company man tried to dig my daddy's grave. It happened on a French-owned tanker ship, spilling poison into Galveston Bay, where the liquid fire filled his lungs and his eyes silenced any more cries. Cold in the grave, with death stinging pain, he fought like hell to keep the wolves away. Dad was sick as a dog, but he made a recovery just to spite the odds. The settlement came and we moved out of town, where the sky isn't heavy with refinery clouds. Yeah, he's still alive, he's doing good, he's in his 50s, but the money's running out and he's pinching for pennies. So I'm going for broke with every song I play, 'cause now it's my turn to keep the wolves away.
I'm not a songwriter, but I am a song listener. And for my money, I think that the best songs, the songs that speak the most to people, are songs that are written in sort of 3 acts. And this song is written in sort of 3 acts. Like, this is a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And all 3 of those acts tug at the heartstrings in a little bit of a different way. It's a fucking phenomenal song. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I feel very honored to be a part of it. I mean, Kevin wrote it alone, and it was always, it was always that great of a song. The craziest thing, because when I started playing with them, I remember conversations where we'd leave it off the set list because it was such a downer. People liked it, but they didn't know it. So, you have to focus on it. I don't know. It's very insightful to me about art and music and recognition, because the song stayed the same all those years, but, the reaction to it couldn't have been, more different.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Back in February of 2013, I heard this quote from you. The surgeon will be installing a Gore-Tex valve in my heart that he described as an accordion. I've always taken the squeeze box to heart. Now it will literally save my life. What happened, buddy?
Yeah, it was a freak accident. It coincided, as it happened, with when we released the Wolves song and the video. It was that same period, the same week, I think. Never given me a definitive answer. It was a freak accident. My heart valve just burst open. I was at band practice. It was misdiagnosed at first, so we went around. We were on a radio tour in small town, Northeast Texas, for Wolves. I remember, I couldn't do all the stops, so I would sleep in the back of this car, one of the vehicles we were driving around. I remember I missed some of those radio. And then when I got back to the town, the heart doctor just heard it with the stethoscope. Fortunately, I mean, I read about it. There's a huge percentage of people die of it within a week. And I was just walking around like that for a couple of weeks. Like, if I had done jumping jacks, I could have died. It was that precarious.
Or if you had carried a heavy piano.
Yeah, that's darn tootin'. If we had real gigs with real gear, that'd have been rougher than dying on stage, I think.
So how did this manifest? Did you feel like you were having a heart attack? Did you feel like you're having chest pains? I mean, a tear in your aorta.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It was kind of like, the feeling you have in your stomach when you have a terrible flu, terrible stomach ache.
Sure.
It was like, if you can imagine ending up with that from normal, and it just sort of cascade. I physically felt an ache go across my stomach. A couple other things happened. The valve blew up. They described the heart valve as 2-ply tissue paper, and the plies separated. That's called a dissection. All sorts of shit went on. It felt like a lot. I keeled over, laid down for the next hour. Kevin drove me to the hospital. They told me I had a stomach ache, sent me home. And then 2 weeks later, I was just sort of in this persistent flu. I mean, I remember my brother visiting, and we walked for miles around Austin. It's always hot, even in February. Yeah, it was pretty wild. The odds.
Well, bless the good Lord that you're okay, man. Good Lord.
Yeah, thanks. No, it was quite a freaky deaky. Good old modern medicine. It's like just a little bump in the road now.
Hey, streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors. Let's get back into it.
You guys, Uncle Lucius, right before you broke up, you played 2 nights at the legendary Green Hall in New Braunfels, Texas.
Yes, sir. About to do it again this weekend.
And the reason I bring it up is because as we record this weekend, you guys are playing 2 nights at the legendary Green Hall in New Braunfels. And wait for it, you're going to record a live album.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't feel like It's the Last One Left is very old. It came out in what, late 2023?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Uh-huh.
And then you guys put out Live from Ear Studio. Even though it is a live album, it's not live in the sense that there was an audience there. I don't hear any audience. This is just one take at Ear Studio, right?
There were a lot of people there. They just didn't care for it. They didn't make a peep. We told them to be polite. They misunderstood. So it's a bit of a sore subject. We're gonna hire a better audience.
That is hilarious. I
We
love
got
that.
the wrong. You get a polite audience that doesn't disrupt you. You got to balance it with the applauding audience.
So why are you guys banging out these albums so quick? I know that you guys have pin-up ambition and stories and songs to share, but
Right.
I feel like 3 in 3 years or 3 in 2 years. Like, good Lord, man, slow down.
Well, if certain people set the standard, I would be remiss not to mention our man Charlie Crockett here in Austin. You know, he puts one out about every 3 to 6 months.
Jesus.
I would say he's the standard. I don't know. The live album from Ear was, I'm glad we did that, but we did repeat some of the same tracks from
Sure.
the first album, added some covers. So it was pretty limited as far as I'm all about trying to put as much work out into the world as possible. Obviously, keep it to a high quality. You don't want to besmirch your name
Sure.
too frequently. Just besmirch it, exact right amount.
Just a tiny besmirching.
Yeah, a little besmirching. You don't want to get too big for your britches.
So spoil me. What's on the set list? What's going to be on this album?
Man,
Just kidding. You can't spoil me.
you don't want to know?
I would love to know.
Well, without being too specific, we're doing 2 sets both nights. I think it's 3 hours each night.
Good God.
Yeah, we're going to try to get a couple of shots at everything. I don't think we'll repeat everything over, but that's the idea, is to record it and, have studio quality gear and hopefully kind of put all our chips on getting those performances. We're trying to figure out ways to not psych ourselves out, but I want to manufacture as much, because sometimes you have that righteous indignation on stage, like on tour a couple of times it came up naturally. Try to capture that somehow, like mess up everybody's drink order or something, just some little petty annoyance. I don't know. Don't tell them, in advance, but like Michael Jordan or something, you disrespect him, then he takes it personally.
Exactly. Just go around and just walk up and knock the microphone out of somebody's hand.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got you. Disrespect the hell out of them.
that's right.
This episode will not come out before that show. And I was going to go to that show, but it turns out I'm going to be out of town, which is really bumming me out.
Bummer.
But there is good news on the horizon, and I'll tell you why. Ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Lucius is still on tour. After that show that I'm not going to be at, and it just passed, and so y'all weren't there either, some of you, they're going to keep going. Go to, and I love the name of the website, go to yourunclelucius.com for tour dates. In April, they're going to be in Yantis, Texas, Hyco, Texas, Lubbock, Texas, where my wife and my father were born, St. Joe, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Ingram, Texas, or I guess Ingram is in May, and then check this out, and this one you might see a fat kid at. May 10th, 2025, The Mark in San Marcos, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan Grossman and I guess Uncle Lucius will be there too. But everybody go check it out. And then that's the craziest part is what I'm about to tell you. That's the last date in Texas. And then these fools are going to Washington. Wait for it. And then Belgium, Germany. I can't even pronounce whatever that is. Evan Minton Terrine Wert Nerd Wert. What? I don't even know what that is, but I'm assuming that it's in Wert in Limburg. And then the Netherlands, Italy, Sweden. Look, these guys are going worldwide yet again. So everywhere you are, they're going to be somewhere near you unless you're not near them, and then they're not coming to your house. But like I said, go to yourunclelucius.com and check out those tour dates. They're going everywhere. They're doing everything. They're playing all the stuff. Jonathan, Johnny Keys, my favorite song from Like It's the Last One Left, also happens to be on live from Ear Studio. As a Texan, I gotta say, it is All the Angelinos. All the Angelinos is not quite a parody song. It is a tongue-in-cheek, humorous take on some of the, I don't know if I should call it immigration or migration. It's not what you think, listeners, but it is definitely a take on a certain segment of the population moving from one area to another, and that another is Texas. It's about a whole group of folks that are coming to Texas and whether or not we're happy about it. Now, that sounds way worse than it is because It's in the song. It's in the title. It's about all those damn Californians moving to Texas. Now, tell me that this is your favorite song on the album, even if that's a lie.
It's a lie.
Oh, what's your favorite song on Like It's the Last One Left?
I'm not actually sure what my favorite song is. The only reason I say that one is my parents were both born in Los Angeles or raised in LA. So at some point, it was at Green Hall. I met a cousin of mine. Said, "So good to see you, man." And by the way, what the fuck is with that song? You forget we all hung out at Grandma's house in LA. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Your parents left too.
They hated LA. Oh my God, they hated it. They couldn't wait to leave. They were happy to get to South Bend, Indiana from LA.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I like I don't know. I'm happy. That's a nice one. That's a nice song.
That's where the name of the album comes from, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, check you out. Look at you digging for gold. Are you guys going to do a bunch of more live albums, like live from your studio? And I guess this one's going to be live from Green Hall. And also, why haven't you done live at Stubbs? What's wrong with y'all?
That's a good question. I don't think we've ever headlined at Stubbs. We've opened a couple of times outside. There's your answer. I guess we could do a live at Stubbs opening set, but it'd be like half an hour.
What if I called Stubbs?
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Stub.
Hey, Stub. Yeah, probably don't want to go stubby. Wait till you're a little more familiar.
Yeah, that's a more intimate. That's personal.
It might be stubbly because it's stubble field. I imagine probably neither. I'm
going to go with neither. I'm with you on that one. John, I know I asked you this about a different one earlier, but I'm going to ask it again because I'm a greedy bastard. Can I play all the Angelinos?
Sure.
Not the live one, but the one from Like It's the Last One Left. Can I play that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a preference? Should it be the live one?
Actually, I think the studio, because Cody Braun is on fiddle on the studio.
Oh, your studio one?
No, the studio album.
Oh, see how confusing that is?
It's very confusing.
Live from Ear Studio, but no, not that one.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All the Angelinos, they're moving down to Texas. They're moving down to Texas. All the Angelinos are moving down to Texas. Yeah, they're moving down to Texas. I'm from Texas and I'm telling you, I ain't never seen the likes of it. I ain't never seen the likes of it. I'm from Texas and I'm telling you, I ain't never seen the likes of it. I ain't never seen the likes of it in my whole life. And moving down to Texas with a bird with a tax light. They're moving down to Texas and they're buying up the cowboy hats. Yeah, they're moving down to Texas with oil and a freedom flow. They're moving down to Texas with a pony and a rodeo. Texas, yeah, they're moving down to Texas. is our Texas. All hail the mighty state.
Oh, kick ass. Were you in the band for the event that we're going to label the Ghost Car Incident?
Ghost car incident. Oh, when they got hit?
Yeah, got hit by a ghost car.
Right. No, I was not. I was flying in for that gig and I was about to take off. I was sitting on the tarmac at 9 a.m. and a text came in. It was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine. What are you talking about?" And I just enough time to look on Facebook and see something, and we had took off. Wild. I missed that one.
Wow. And just think, your aorta could have exploded in that car.
Yeah, they could have been ghost car murderers.
So you were in the band, but you weren't in the car?
That's true. Yeah. I think I might have gone back to Kentucky and was flying the gig. The gig was in Kansas City that night.
Wow. See, look at you. The good Lord is looking out for you, my man.
Oh yeah. I leave unluckiness in my wake, maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
I like the way you thought of it better.
Yeah, it's like when you look in the rearview mirror and you see all those accidents. You're like, what's wrong with those assholes? Weird.
It's not me.
Yeah, see, I'm fine up here. It's all those people behind me. They don't know how to drive. John, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and also the band, I guess.
Also the band. So it's yourunclelucius.com. I'm on the Instagram under jgrow zzz. Record songs as Sleepy John on Spotify, and it's JON.
What kind of music is Sleepy John?
It's a little eclectic. I put one album out in 2020. I don't know, rock and roll singer-songwriter. Piano was in there, so maybe some Warren Zevon influence, a little bit of Harry Nilsson, the classics, Beach Boys, Beatles, stuff like that. I've got an album I'm going to put out this year without any guitar. It's got tuba, bass. I do a majority of the drumming myself. There's some funny songs on it that I'm very excited about that one coming out. And then I have a EP that's kind of a funk band. A lot of releasing to do this year. I got to get on a schedule.
Yeah, you got to get somebody with a pen and a spreadsheet going.
Right.
Well, again, like I said, everybody, John Grossman from Uncle Lucius, and also
J Grows ZZZ.
J Grows ZZZ. Check him out everywhere on Spotify. What are the chances that J Grows ZZZ is going to open for Uncle Lucius?
I don't know. We haven't crossed that bridge.
Because y'all all do solo shits.
Yeah, that's probably what it'll wind up being after a while. It'll just be bills of 3 of our bands and then our band. Maybe that seems feasible. Something like that.
Sounds fun.
Could happen.
Sounds fun as hell. Everybody go check out yourunclelucius.com. Like I said, for tour dates, they're going all over the place, but you better catch them before they leave Texas, unless you live in all those other countries I couldn't pronounce.
I should shout out our gig. 3 of us in the band are in a band called the Guthrie Girls. We play every Wednesday. We're in town at Samstown Point in Austin. Do you know Samstown Point?
Not really an Austin guy.
I'm very biased, but my favorite honky-tonk in town. I used to live on the property. It's all the way down south. Great music at Samstown Point.
Samstown Point.
Yep, almost in Manchac. It's so far south.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, good spot.
Well, kick ass. Thanks for that little tip.
Hell yeah.
Go check that out, too. Every when you're in town?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday when you're in town. 3 of the dudes from the band.
Yep.
That's wild.
Oh, yeah. Great band.
Look at you. Just acting like a regular person, even though you're a huge rock star. World famous rock star. He's just hanging out at Sam's.
Come on.
Just hanging it. Just kicking it.
Fits in. We just had a song. Johnny Knoxville's daughter is a regular there, and he just played one of our songs on his Big XM Sirius show. Great tune.
Well, shit.
Yeah, a lot of luminaries coming through Sam's.
And the name of this band again is?
The Guthrie Girls. A couple of Arlo's daughters.
Really?
His granddaughters. Yep.
Oh, my.
And their niece, she's a real superstar, Serena Guthrie. The whole group of them, they're charming, great songs, dancers. Oh, it's a scene, I'm telling you.
Well, that sounds sick as shit, and it's on a Wednesday. It's on Wednesdays.
It's tonight. So I'm excited for it. Yeah.
I'll check you out. That does sound like a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out all of the things that John just said. All of the different bands and all of the different places. It's on the Spotify's. It's in the Austins. It's on the tours. So go check out everything Uncle Lucius. Go check out everything the Guthrie Girls. And go check out everything J. Go check them out everywhere. And again, follow them on Instagram. Make sure you say, hello, John, and I heard you on Fascination Street.
If you don't use that voice, I'm not replying.
That's what I'm talking about. John, dude, thank you so much. I super, super appreciate it. I'm a little heartbroken that I'm not going to be able to come and meet you guys in Green this weekend while you're recording that next album. That really bums me out. I was really looking forward to that. But hopefully I will be able to get away and see you on May 10th, which is actually the anniversary of my first date with my wife. So it's on May 10th, San Marcos. Maybe I'll get a chance to pop up there and see you then. You guys are kicking all of the ass. Please don't stop. You are rock and roll at its finest. You're also country at its finest. You're, oh my gosh, it's just dawned on me. You're Donnie and Marie. You're a little bit of country and a little bit of rock and roll. Y'all are killing it, and I really appreciate your time. You are immense.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I'm going to let you go. Have a great rest of your day, I guess, and enjoy tonight at Sam's with all of the Guthrie Girls, dude.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Steve. Really appreciate you, man.
Dude, I had a blast,
Pleasure.
and I will tag you and them and everybody when this comes out, and I'll give you a little bit of a heads up, too. I appreciate it.
I'll shoot you an Insta message. Holler at me anytime you can make it. Love to chat in person.
Oh, well, I will take you up on that, hopefully. I love you, buddy. Thank you. Have fun on your world tour.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.
I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Opening music is the song FSP Theme, written, performed, and provided by Ambush Vin. Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jax Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend. Subscribe and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.